Hey everybody, welcome to day 3, Breakfast with Bob from beautiful Edmonton, Canada. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spas, SFuels Go Longer, Quintana, HOKA, One, Form Smart Swim Goggles, Zoot Sports, the original triathlon brand, Premium Plus Sports, and of course our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, Rach McBride, is doing triathlon. She's doing gravel racing. She's changing the world. Rach, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, Bob. Thanks for having me on the show.
Always such a treat. Talk about what you've been doing here in Edmonton. You're not just here for the race.
No, apparently I'm not just here for the race. So along with the PTO Open races, they're having summits at all of these races. So here in Canada, they brought together all of the national and provincial sporting bodies for triathlon and having a full day and a half of talks. And last night I ended up giving the keynote about being a non-binary triathlete and what the sporting organizations can do to be more inclusive.
Right, and what I've loved, and I sent Chemo from Lifetime Fitness a note, that they added non-binary. What's the best way to say that?
Yeah, non-binary.
Non-binary. Basically, you are Rach.
Yeah, I am Rach. I use pronouns they, them, and I identify outside of the gender binary. So I don't identify as a man or a woman, but non-binary.
But as Rach.
Yeah.
And how much of a struggle has that been when you realize, I don't want to identify as a woman, I don't want to identify as a man, and for people to accept that?
You know, it's been a really interesting process. So I have felt this way throughout my whole life since I was really little.
Yeah.
I knew, but I just didn't really know. I didn't have the words to describe. And so I finally discovered the words to describe and had the courage to come out about 2.5 years ago. And to be honest, it's been an incredible experience. My fans and supporters and sponsors and the sporting community has just been incredibly supportive.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a really incredible experience.
You know what I think what's great about our sport has been, we've always been inclusive. I always call our sport, and all of our sports, we're an equal opportunity abuser. We don't really care, missing an arm, missing a leg, non-binary. You go get from point A to point B and enjoy yourself.
Right, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think there's a lot of room for triathlon to be more inclusive. You know, we see, for example, I'm racing a lot of gravel this year with the Lifetime Grand Prix. And that all of the races have non-binary categories.
Yes.
But here, even at the PTO race in the amateur category, there's no non-binary category.
Right.
There are very few triathlons that have non-binary categories. So we do have a lot of work to do to be a bit more inclusive in that sense. But I think we're all on the right track.
Well, and I love what Lifetime is doing.
Yeah.
They recognized it and they jumped right on board.
Absolutely. So yeah, all of their races, cycling, running, triathlon, all of their races now have non-binary categories as of last year.
Yeah, and for the race director, really, what does it change for them besides a few more medals, right?
Yep.
That's about it.
Exactly.
And if you're letting people be who they are.
Yeah. It's powerful. And it's, you know what, there are, just like myself, you know, for the past 10 years, I have been a non-binary athlete racing in this binary sport.
Right.
And there are already non-binary athletes out there racing, but just not in the category that, you know, feels most authentic to them.
Right.
And there are a lot of non-binary folks who would probably love to race triathlon, but don't see a space for them. Yes. So opening that up will open up more participation into triathlon too.
Exactly. And from a athlete perspective, you're seeing more athletes embracing it and saying, okay, I am non-binary, where in the past they probably just didn't want to come forward. Now you're basically saying, yes, be who you are.
Yeah.
If you feel, if you are non-binary, that's where you should be participating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how does, in terms of the balance of gravel, triathlon, does it all complement each other?
I mean, I think so. Yes. You know, in the past couple of years, I've been spending like much more time on my gravel bike, even training for Ironman on my gravel bike. And so it definitely means that I'm training the cycling portion a lot more.
Yeah, than the
I
other
also, on some level, feel like I'm kind of like sort of dabbling in all of the different things, because in the Lifetime Grand Prix, there's also mountain bike racing.
Yes.
So in a couple weeks, I'm racing Leadville 100,
You
the
are.
100-mile mountain bike race. I've never raced a mountain bike before, so it's a little bit of a new thing. So I feel like I'm kind of like almost like half trained for everything, but you know, I'm showing up here at the PTO race with guns blazing.
Well, it's in Canada.
Oh yeah, it's in Canada.
It's your backyard, right?
Absolutely.
You've got to support this.
Yeah.
And anytime someone puts out $1 million, and it has to be the biggest prize purse in triathlon history in Canada.
Yeah.
$1 million.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done that before.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you know what? The last time I was racing here in Edmonton was back in 2007. It was my second year of triathlon ever.
Yeah.
I was here for the amateur race to qualify for the amateur world championships, which I ended up winning my age group and qualifying and going and winning world champs.
Winning worlds.
Yeah. So Edmonton kind of has like a special place in my heart, even though I haven't been here in 15 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the field is...
Oh my goodness.
It's like the Hall of Fame.
Seriously.
I know. I was just talking to Nicola, and then you got Emma Pallant-Brown and Laura Phillip, and you're like,
yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah, it's incredible, you know, to show up at the pool every morning and like see all these incredible athletes.
Yes.
I'm like, I feel so honored to be here amongst them.
Have you found in terms of acceptance from the other, the female athletes, the male athletes, to understand? Do athletes come up and say, explain what you're trying to do with non-binary?
No, I don't. I haven't really gotten a lot of feedback from athletes who I don't know.
Right.
You know, the athletes who I do know have been totally supportive and amazing and wonderful.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's been, you know, as my folks said, we knew this all along, Rach. We were just waiting for you to kind of figure it out. And I think it's like, it seems like really natural, I think,
Right.
to a lot of folks.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I remember just last year when Daniela Reef said she wanted to do an interview and had something very important to chat about, and you know, I'm sitting there going, "You're Daniela Reef, you know, you're Danny, and you're a 5-time at that point, 4-time Ironman world champion." There's no change in who you are in my eyes because of your whatever choices. You choose whatever you want to do.
Well, and it's powerful. I think Daniela coming out was like an incredibly powerful for just folks to see a little bit more of who she is, and to just like when someone that big in the world of sport comes out, it's really powerful in terms of visibility and acceptance.
And because it allows other people to say, okay, I've been sort of hiding.
Yeah.
It's okay for me.
It's
If
okay.
it's okay for Danielle.
Exactly.
Daniela, who has to be thinking, oh gosh, how my sponsor's going to react, how my family going to react. I think for the most part in this day and age, like your parents, it's like, tell me something I don't know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, when
it's
you're
like,
okay.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
So what does the rest of your season look like?
Oh gosh, so basically I'm racing every weekend
I was gonna say,
until
you got Leadville
I'm racing the next weekend Leadville stage race, the next weekend Boulder 70.3, the next weekend after that Leadville 100. Then I'm back up to Canada to do Trans Rockies, a 4-day gravel stage race, which I'm really excited about. And then I've got a couple of more gravel races and a mountain bike race in this race series, the Lifetime Grand Prix.
Yes.
And then hopefully a fall Ironman. I didn't realize when I signed up for this Lifetime Grand Prix just like how much I would be focusing on bike racing this year. And so I still love triathlon, and I really want to continue racing it. So. Well,
when you're doing mountain bike races up at 14,000 feet,
yeah,
I think that prepares you a little bit
totally.
for an Ironman. Because, I think the specific Ironman training can go out the window when you're doing that kind of high intensity, high altitude.
Yeah.
There's definitely a give back there.
Yeah, and it's like, Leadville 100 is like 7 to 9 hours on a mountain bike. So it's nothing to shake a fist at. And I just did Unbound, which was 12 hours on a gravel bike. So it's kind of like Ironman training for sure.
Well, with gravel, and I have, to be honest, I've not been on a gravel bike yet. Been on mountain bike, which I'm horrific at. But in fact, I did an Xterra race once. That's good. What I love about racing is, and I like in 2019, I think I raced 36 times between triathlon and marathon, stuff like that. And I was, when I get out there and do a race, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
Because I'm never in anybody's way in a swim. I'm not in anybody's way in a bike. And, people go by me, I go by them. Mainly they go by me. When I was doing Xterra, and I'm on the mountain bike, and there goes a single track, the whole time I thought it's in people's way. And it was one of the more stressful things I've ever done.
Totally.
And there was a point where I fall off the bike, and this has never happened to me before. I couldn't find the bike. The bike had like slid down some canyon, and I'm like, this is weird. So then I come riding in at the end of this, I think it was a 10-mile bike that took me like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I come in, and I'm like, this thing is brutal. And one of the guys from Xterra goes, if we wanted to be easy, we'd call it Ironman. I'm like, okay, I get it now. This thing is brutal. But it's just like riding the mountain bike or the gravel bike, especially when you get the single track, I'd always be worried that I don't want to ruin your race by being slow and clogging up the freeway there. Where in triathlon, it doesn't, hey, how you doing? Great, good to see you. It's all social, and I'm never in his way, but I found that the mountain gravel pretty much wider.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's a lot less single track in gravel.
Oh, good.
But it's true. Like I think there's like an etiquette to mountain bike racing that like I have no idea. So I'm in the same boat. I'm like I don't want to get in anybody's way.
Right.
Because I'm racing against like Olympian mountain bikers.
Right. You're racing
so it's
the best.
like if someone, I'm probably on more technical sections gonna go a lot slower than a lot of people.
There.
Yeah.
Love it. Any particular goals for this weekend? It's like you're on the world tour and racing every single weekend, different distances. You must walk in the garage and go, eeny, meeny, miny, I'll take the gravel, the mountain bike, the tri-bike.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been basically road tripping to all of these races, which means I leave home with 3 different bikes in my minivan and have to like figure out everything's piled on top of each other, and yeah, it's a little confusing, but and a lot of stuff. If you think triathlon is bringing a lot of stuff, imagine like having to bring 3 bikes. Yeah, I forgot what the question was.
I have no idea. No, but just the fact that every single weekend you've got a different event with different equipment. And have to get your nutrition and all the rest of that type of stuff. And is it the type of thing where you don't have to train that much in between because basically you're racing every weekend? I
mean, this is the thing. Yeah, I think like the stage race is really going to be like course familiarization for the Leadville 100. Right. So I'll be training through that one. And then, it's basically I kind of feel like I'm racing into shape. You know?
Right. Yeah.
It's just like every single race I keep getting fitter. And so, showing up here, I am really excited for the distance. I'm really excited for the course. Yes. That swim is going to be hypoxic.
Oh,
because
we're talking
of
it's
like,
going to be no autopsy, no foul.
Oh,
You're talking 3 laps. There's going to be some forearm shiver thing going on.
Yeah. And every time you get up and out of that water and back in, it feels like you're drowning when you're back in. The bike course is awesome. It is like, it's going to basically be just like hammer the hills and then recover on the downhills and try not to hit a pothole.
Right, and it's
try not to flat.
Well, 3 little climb, not little, but 3 climbs on every hill.
Yeah.
And then there's a 20-meter draft rule. So it's one thing to enforce a 20-meter draft rule on the Daytona Speedway.
Right.
It's another thing when you got all these people, ITU athletes, 70.3 athletes, Ironman athletes, coming up a hill, rubber band braking, and people too close. It's going to be interesting how that plays out. Yeah, it'll be really interesting. So I plan to just like swim and bike as hard as I can, and then let's see what I can do on the run. I love it. Yeah. Rach, always such a treat. Yeah. And thank you for what you're doing for non-binary athletes, because it always takes somebody to lead the way. Yeah, thanks, Bob. Where you have somebody who's putting themselves out there, and then other people benefit from that. Yeah. But without that leader, it doesn't happen. Yeah. So thanks, congrats. Bob. Thanks. Keeping brave. That's what it's about, right? It's being courageous and saying, this is who I am, and you either accept it or I don't, but I could care less. Yeah, you know what? I feel like I have the opportunity to be brave and courageous for those who can't right now. Exactly, and they will benefit from that. Yeah. Rach McBride has been our guest again. Breakfast with Bob, beautiful Edmonton, Canada. Hold on, everybody. We will be right back.